Alright guys, what's going on? Welcome to the stream. Welcome to YouTube. Welcome to my Magic and Necro PvP build. It took me quite a while to... it actually didn't. I'm still kind of working on it, but I got to the point where, you know what, I'm just going to put this together how I have, the way I see fit at the current moment, so like with the gear that I already have. And I decided to make a build video out of it only because I want to get it out there. I want to give credit where credit is due. I was talking to a friend of mine, WurDaWoozleWznt, very good PvP player on DC. He's blue, and he takes full credit for this build. So I kind of want to just get it out there. I had no intentions of making this for Magic and Necromancer, but I saw him playing it, and I was like, you know what? I need to give this a try. And holy shit, it is super strong. So let's jump right into it here, shall we? These are our unbuffed stats in the front bar. We're looking at 42,000 max magic, 18k health, 15k stam. Obviously that health will go up to about 24-ish, 25-ish in Cyrodiil. Spell damage is looking low, but we're going to have high max magic pool, so that's not important. And our other set will help with this spell damage. Our spell resistance and physical oh shit. I just realized my CP is kind of messed up too. Let's say that critical resistance is pretty low. That's not how it's supposed to be. What's going on, Get Fanny Packed? How you doing? Turn music off. I've been in Maelstrom for so long with this guy, I forgot to change my CP around before I started the build video. Where the hell is music at? There it is. Let's jump into the gear here real quick. So obviously, Necropotence, that's our first set here. And then our monster set's going to be Bloodspawn. And then the second set, which I never really thought of using on any character, only because I rarely do Maelstrom Arena, is Elemental Succession. And this is probably best in slot for Magic and Necromancer, because the class, out of all of the classes in the game, has all of Flame, Shock, and Frost damage built into its toolkit. You have Frost with your Colossus and your dots. You have Flame with the Blast Bones, and then you also have Shock with your Lightning Staff, along with some of your synergies depending on what you like to use, and also with the Skeletal Mage. Excuse me, it's pretty early here in the morning. Succession it's so hard to get. Like, honestly, this was probably one of the hardest sets I've ever had to get in this game. And the only reason why I settled on the body pieces is because I was tired of doing Maelstrom. Like, I can't sit there and just keep doing something over and over and over and over again. So once I got all the body pieces that I wanted, I was like, you know what, this is fine. This is what I'm going to roll with. That's why I'm not stressing it too much. But to be optimal, you obviously want a Lightning Staff of Succession to have on your front bar. And then you would want a back bar Potentates to have the increased damage mitigation. But I said, you know what, I have 5 pieces here. I'm just going to put this together and use it. And it works well. You're just going to be less tanky as if you were to have Potentates. So what I have is a Lightning Staff of Necropotence on the front bar and Sword and Board on the back bar. Obviously with Defending and In-Pen on the Sword and Shield. And then you want all of your enchantments to be max magic. This one just happens to be a try enchantment, because that's what I had before. And it's infused. You want everything to be impenetrable. Everything in-pen in PvP. In-pen, 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 in-pen. And then our jewelry is Necropotence, of course. This would be Succession if you had Succession Weapon. But, like I said, I just wanted to get this out here, so I have Necropotence jewelry instead. All mag recovery. Recovery is very important with this build, because your damage is going to be from your max magica pool, And then if you read the 5-piece bonus here, so we have max magic, spell damage, max magic, and then the 5-piece bonus is whenever you deal flame, shock, or frost damage, you gain 537 spell damage for that element for 4 seconds. This effect can occur every 4 seconds per element. So all of that spell damage will stack with each other. All of it. Every single one. So you could have a potential 1500 plus spell damage for a very short window. And that window could be your Colossus Burst with a Blast Bones set up with Crushing Shock. Crushing Shock will proc all 3 of these at the same time, giving you a tremendous window to burst someone down really quick. It is very underrated. I don't think I've ever seen any build video in my entire ESO existence using this set. And if there are videos out there, then show me, because I have not seen Elemental Succession used basically on any situation. I never would have thought to use this on a Magic and Necromancer, and it's so perfect because they have literally everything in their toolkit to use flame, shock, and frost damage. And then Bloodspawn only because the ultimate generation from this set, and obviously the increased armor, is just, it goes well with the build. I mean, your main burst is with the Colossus ultimate, so let's take a look at the skills here real quick. So our first skill is going to be Avid Boneyard. This is going to be something you throw on the ground here, and you want to use the synergy sparingly. So basically what I like to do is I'll throw that down, and I'll wait for people to, you know, depending on the situation, if you're outnumbered, or if it's a 1v1, whatever. Throw that down on the ground, then you want to throw your Agony Totem down. Once this Agony Totem's down, you kind of have like a little, you know, buff, per se. I mean, it is a buff, but you're going to be reducing damage taken by 8% if you stand within it. But not only standing within it gives you the buff, you're also going to fear them if they come into it. So I like to throw the Agony Totem inside the Boneyard, because then when we proc our Beckoning Armor, they're going to either A, come into the field because they're a stamina class, or B, they're going to get pulled in because they're going to be ranged. So with ranged attacks will be pulled toward you once every 3 seconds. So if you can get them in that circle when you have those both down, you want to cast that Agony Totem, hit your Stalking Blast Bones, and then pepper them with Crushing Shock to proc your Elemental Succession. And then you want to hit that synergy, and it's instant death. You will nuke anyone that does it. I fucking promise you. I just went 29-0 in my last deathmatch in BGs. It was disgusting. I have so much fun on this build, I don't even want to play my Magsork anymore. The dot alone does 15k damage over 10 seconds. I mean, if you put this on a corpse, it does 50% more damage, and you can use the synergy. So it's a very strong burst combo. So that combo I just said, along with Crushing Shock. And then what I also like to do is the same thing. I'll have the Avid Boneyard down with the Agony Totem. I'll throw on the Blast Bones and hit my Glacial Colossus, which does 10k frost damage each smash. And then you want to hit them with a Ghostly Embrace. So not only are they going to be snared, but they're going to be inflicted with minor maim, so reducing their damage by 15%, and it's going to immobilize them. So not only are they immobilized for a short period of time, but they're taking the dot damage from this, they're getting hit with the Blast Bones and the Glacial Colossus on top of it. As soon as you stop them from moving, they're not going to be able to break free in time, because all that damage is just going to burst them down. It's super crazy. I mean, you have, let's see here, this is Frost, this is Flame, this is Frost, Flame, and Shock. This is Frost. You have a Shock Staff, obviously, for increased AoE damage. And then, yeah, that's it as far as damage goes. So this is what I suggest running as your front bar with this kind of setup. It works very well. Back bar, we saw Beckoning Armor. So this is going to take a little bit of a hit to your sustain because of the Ghost here. But Beckoning Armor is going to be more suitable for pulling people into your graveyard. You want to stand in your graveyard at all times on top of your Agony Totem, because that's what's going to protect you and deal the most damage. So while you're in that graveyard, you want to have this on so you can pull ranged enemies in, and it's our armor buff. This is going to be your main burst heal, Resistance Flesh. It's kind of a, I don't want to say a shit heal. I mean, it can be good, but the only reason why it's viable is because you get that spell and physical resistance equal to half the amount you're healed for. So if your heal crits, like say, we'll just say you crit heal for 9k. I mean, 4,500 increased your resistances on top of what you already have on your back bar. Ooh, excuse me. So 22,000 and 19,000. Plus an additional, let's just say 4,000, and then you are Breton on top of that too. So, I mean, you can hit easily 30k spell resistance with this build. Spirit Guardian. I was back and forth between Spirit Guardian and the Mender, and I really didn't know exactly which one to go for. I had to talk to a few different people, and I've came to the conclusion that this is more... This is a better option only because your back bar is meant to be defense. So with your defense, you're still getting healing. It's just not as much. But the fact that it lasts 16 seconds, which is doubled than the last one, is going to prevent you from having to recast this over and over again. So you do get a less of a heal, but you get 10% damage mitigation transferred to the ghost. And the ghost doesn't die. So, I mean... To me, that's more of a reason to have this morph, but, I mean, to each their own. I feel like 10% damage mitigation with a heal is better than just an increased heal that only lasts for 6 seconds, and you have to keep wasting magic to cast it back up. I mean, at that point, you might as well change this to the other morph so that your Spirit Guardian costs less. So I think this is kind of a better setup for this kind of build. Race Against Time. I know this is kind of a bitch to grind. Trust me, I'm never doing this another character ever again. I'm just going to buy it straight out from now on. This is just going to give you Expedition buff. Macros have no... They have no way of getting around quick, so this is like... This is your next best thing. And then the other thing about it is the crit damage. So the increased crit damage is very nice to go with that burst that we talked about earlier. And then Mortal Coil, this is another way to kind of beat the game at stamina resource. So depending on what food you run, it can go both ways. You can either run Witch Mothers, which gives you a lot less of a stam pool, but if you take, I'm going to show you both here. So with Mortal Coil, you get the heal over time, but you also restore 1260 stam over 12 seconds. So that's... It's 105 stamina recovery per second. 105 stamina every 2 seconds if you really want to get down to it. And then your healing is increased by 3%. So this is going to help with your resistance flesh. So, I mean, and your Spirit Guardian. If you stay on your back bar, you just get an increased heal. But I really like is the stamina recovery. And then our last move, or our last... ability on the back bar is Temporal Guard, only because of the minor protection. That's it. The skill's broken. It never works. So with this, I have the Sugar Skulls currently, so I have a 15k stamp pool and then 700 recovery. If I pop the Ghost, we go up to 922 recovery, and it's really up to you if you want to use tripods or not. I like tripods only because it's probably the most viable currently for this kind of setup, only because you don't really need spell damage or spell crit. It's all built into your kit. So when you have this kind of a stamina pool and stam recovery, if you pop a tripod with the Ghost, you're going to be over 1k stamina with 15k stamina. And the recovery, mag recovery is really good as well. But if you were to switch to... Sorry, I'm kind of like going on a tangent as I go through stuff. If you switch to Witch Mothers, you get a less Magicka pool, which kind of sucks, and you get less health, and your mag recovery goes up, which you have even more Magicka sustain. I don't really like playing this way, but you don't have to worry about your stam recovery. Because, I mean, you don't have to worry about your max stamina at all either, because your stam recovery is still going to be over 1,000, even when you pop a pot. So we'll hit this. And we'll hit another pot here. So we're at almost 1100 stamina recovery. That's really good. I mean, you can dodge roll, you can block. I mean, as long as you have Mortal Coil up, that stamina recovery is going to be even higher. So, I mean, 1200, 1300 give or take. Not bad at all. And then I'm just going to switch back to Sugar Skulls here because I like them better over that choice. Where were we at? Yeah, so long as you have Mortal Coil up, you can use both foods, Sugar Skulls or Witch Mother's Potent Brew. I suggest Sugar Skulls only because it's tri-stat, you have a larger stamina pool, and then you also have increased stamina recovery, but if you feel like you're not sustaining well with your mag recovery, use Witch Mother's. And then the CP is currently not set up for PvP at the moment. Like I said, I was doing Maelstrom a lot, but to give you a rundown, you definitely want points into tenacity. I would suggest probably 10% into that, and then take that out of your Arcanist and put it into there. I would leave 19% on both of these, both block and dodge roll. This is set up fine. 51, 64, 23. Master at Arms, 15% or 51 points to give you 19%. And then Thaumaturge, only because you have a lot of dots on this build. You have your Boneyard, you have your Colossus, you have all of your elements that you're going to be proccing with Crushing Shock, the burning, the status effects. It's really, really nice. You don't necessarily have to have 81 points into this. It's actually kind of overkill now that I think about it. You can probably take a few out of here. No, I like this. I'm going to keep 81, only because it's been working for me, so I'm going to keep it there. But you don't necessarily need 81 into there. Kind of divide them, just do what feels right. I mean, you could put more into Spell Erosion. You could put some into Staff Expert or even more into Master at Arms. But I like 81% because I feel like that dot pressure is just... It's too good to pass up. And you get the 10% with off-balanced enemies. You're increasing your damage even more. It's super, super bursty. That's just how I like to play. This is the part that I forgot to change back. So you want at least 12% in both of these, 56, 56. I would leave that how it is. You don't need anything to that tree. I would definitely throw points into your crit resistance here too. I like to have over 1,000. 1,000's good. 66 in the Ironclad. Leftover, you can either leave that there, put more into this, or throw those points into resistant. However you like, whatever feels good, honestly. Like, CP is so biased that you can't really just follow someone just because they have theirs the certain way. You have to do with how you are more comfortable with. Like, do you feel more comfortable having more damage? Do you feel more comfortable being tanky? I mean, you can lay CP out as much as you want throughout different skill trees, but I think it's more about sustain, if anything. It's hard to really justify having so many points into Bastion, for example, if you have damage shields, and then have these low, because yeah, you're going to have bigger shields, but they're going to go down quicker because these aren't up. And then if your dot damage isn't reduced, then these are reduced even more, and then your shields are just going to go down. And if this isn't up, now the shields take crit. I mean, it's just like you got to find that happy medium. So kind of just do what you feel is right and what feels comfortable. But that's it for the CP tree. We are Vampire with this build. Definitely want to have all of your vampire abilities here. Supernatural recovery, undeath. This isn't, Darkstalker's not really important, but I like to have the movement speed while on crouch, and then unnatural resistance for the 50% health recovery. It's not as bad if you don't have this. But the Sugar Skulls kind of helps out with that too. I think we have just under 500. Yeah, 416. It's not bad. And I think that's going to do it for this build. I wanted to get it out there. I appreciate the help that I received from WurDaWoozleWznt. This is actually, I'm just going to say that this is his build. I I can't take credit for it at all. Like, this is all him. But I definitely wanted to get a video out there to let people know that Macro is not dead. Not that saying it was dead in the first place, but it could be really fun if you use this kind of setup. And go to Maelstrom, do the grind, have fun with PvE at the same time. You can even level up characters in there too, or level up skills. That's what I did. I leveled up all my Psijic stuff in there while I was grinding out Succession. And it's just a lot of fun. So see what you think. Let me know in the comments if you like Elemental Succession. Do you guys currently run it? Have you ever run it? Have you ever even heard of it? And if you do run it, what kind of class? What's your build? And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.